Hello, in this episode I'll be playing through episode 8 of Interrogation You Will Be Deceived, illustrating how you can get past this episode and not get fired. This is intended to help you if you're stuck, but I strongly suggest you stop the video once you feel you have what you need to finish the conversational puzzle on your own, so that you don't ruin your experience of the game. There are many ways to finish an episode and I will only be showing you one of them, so try to get back in the game and discover your own. So in episode 8 we're dealing with a reversed situation. We are now being interrogated because uh, although we think we've done a great job, or I think we've done a great job, um, many bombs have blown up in the city that we weren't able to catch. This is back in episode 3. Also, to finish episode 7, we had to give a tip to a Liberation Front member, and that resulted in someone, Benoves, actually escaping from us, right? So this is also, we've put pressure on certain suspects, or perhaps in your playthrough you've maybe used enhanced interrogation, who knows, right? So this episode will actually be different depending on what perks you have, if you've used enhanced interrogation or not, what sort of dialogue options you went for in different episodes. So this guy will drill you down for everything you did. How you need to approach this is put yourself in that situation. You need to prove to this man that you're A, not incompetent, right? That you can still do your job and you can do it well and you deserve to lead this operation. And B, you need to prove to him that you're not somehow persuaded by the Liberation Front, right? That although you've tipped off a Liberation Front member, you didn't do that because you somehow agree with the front, right? So these are the two things you need to keep in mind when you play this episode. I will give you my walkthrough, but yours will be different because of your different perks and your different choices, right? But this is the strategy you have to keep in mind. Make him believe you're not incompetent, and make him believe you truly are fighting against the Liberation Front, right? So this is what we're trying to do here. Do we understand why we're here? Again, let's analyze this option, right? If we're saying that our team has performing adequately in all of our tasks, we know that's a lie, right? We haven't done the perfect job. Sometimes we had to take some shortcuts. We can say that there's some internal affair bullshit, so we can push him a bit, right? Annoy him, but tell him, this proves a bit more competence, but that might annoy him. Or we can say ethical concerns, right? This is the most truthful one, but this proves a bit of incompetence from our part, right? Because we agree that, these ethical concerns, they're hard stuff. I don't know if I can handle it. It's a perilous sea, right? So these are the sort of options you will always have, and the things you will have to consider. So let's go with ethical concerns. And he nods. He says, yes, that's why we're here. He asks us why do we have any ethical breaches that we would like to declare. I will just agree and say we know that giving up that man was a bad thing, and he nods. He accuses us that Benoves got away as a direct consequence of our actions. We'll tell him we took a calculated risk. He also drills us for our leadership style. He wants here to look for how much we take up responsibility, right? So let's say a strong sense of hierarchy. So then he tells us that indeed, well then we must accept full responsibility, which we will do. He asks us if our intent was to help Benoves. Again, this is the sort of question we would ask a suspect. You don't have high enough empathy or fear with me to get me to answer that. So let's just tell him the truth. We did this to get King to stop the bomb. And then he asks about Daniel Wilson from episode 3. Why is it that we believe he was not a member of the Liberation Front? We know Daniel Wilson was blackmailed. He wasn't a member of the Liberation Front. We can tell him just that. He asks us why Alex from episode 4, Why was he not in the Liberation Front? We know he was not because he worked with the priest. The priest was the mastermind behind it, and he just manipulated Alex into doing some things for him. Alex didn't even understand that he was buying bomb materials, right? Um, so I will go for exactly that option. I will just tell the truth. Then he wants to ask us about the management, certainly. He tells us that we've demotivated our agents. Let's tell him that we just try to do our best. We've given interviews in the past, or hopefully you've given interviews in the past in your playthrough. We'll just say we understand its necessity, go for the safe option. He asks us if we believe that we're the good guys. Let's just tell him we're doing our job. And now he gets up. Now he's trying to intimidate us, right? This is the sort of strategy we could use with our suspects, make them uncomfortable, make them scared, and he's using that on us right now. Let's just tell him, listen, we're only cooperating, calm down, right? And now he drills us about all these Liberation Front members that have opened up to us. So we've had some strange success, right? And he admittedly is quite suspicious of that. Why do we have this magical gift? Well, because we're extremely smart and intelligent. Here's a very easy trap, right, for you. We could just say it's judicious use of enhanced interrogation techniques, and that will instantly get you fired, right? Because you admit on tape this is probably recorded, right? There's a microphone right here. This will just instantly get you fired, right? If we say maybe their leadership told them to, right, to open up to us, that raises suspicion, right? Why would their leadership tell them to confess to us in particular? Perhaps that means we have a connection to the Liberation Front leadership. So let's just tell him we're good at what we do. He still doesn't like us. Do we find it acceptable that we've psychologically tormented several of these suspects? Well, I wouldn't go for psychological torment, but I won't speak for any of you watching in your playthroughs, right? I know I haven't done any of that, but we regret it deeply if we did it. And we did intimidate and manipulate innocent people. Did they deserve to do this? Absolutely not. He tells us that we were too sympathetic to the Liberation Front's points of view. We know we did that to manipulate the Liberation Front members, but he doesn't know that. And we can just tell him that. We tried to trick them. And he gets a bit more angry, tries to scare us a bit more. He tells us that the Liberation Front will not be allowed to flourish as a cancer to be spread by an incompetent or traitorous idiot. He's talking about us. Let's just tell him to, calm down. They scream at us, telling him that we're not in control here. So he's trying to scare us, right? He's asking us with their eyes twitching if we're ready to die to end these monsters. Of course not, we're not fanatics. He asks us what do we stand for in all of this. We could have different options here depending on your playthrough. We stand for the law. And just like that, he suddenly calms down. So this was probably a trick from his part. He was just trying to push us, intimidate us. We're gonna get him fired, right? So this is the end of the episode. We didn't get fired. We didn't have anything bad happen to us. So I hope this video helps you. Depending on your playthrough, again, your episode might be different. But if you keep yourself professional, never agree or never admit that you openly empathize with the Liberation Front, and never openly admit that you've, for example, used enhanced interrogation techniques, you should be able to get past this episode and get back at cracking down on the Liberation Front. Thank you very much.